The housing sector plays a more critical role in the country's welfare than is always recognized, as it directly affects not only the well-being of the citizenry, but also the performance of other sectors of the economy. Rather than climbing the housing ladder, too many Nigerians are just falling off the cliff as home ownership rates are low. The focus on affordable housing by the Nigerian government, as well as private players, needs to increase as population growth and urbanization does not seem to be slowing down. Access to more affordable loans for all Nigerians, as well as the lower cost of construction, would enable more Nigerians own homes, which would improve their quality of life. This is housing development, where we advocate for the provision of low-cost housing for Nigerians. As always, I am your housing diva, Flora Anne. The news making rounds in the sector is up next.
The Federal Mortgage Bank (FMBN) has announced its plans to join the Nigerian in Diaspora Commission (NITP) to create a diaspora housing plan. This was revealed during a meeting in Abuja recently between the FMBN Managing Director, Mr. Madu Herman, and NITP Chairman, Mrs. Abike Dabiri-Erewa. The collaboration is to introduce a housing initiative that will allow Nigerians living abroad to own homes in Nigeria without having to rely on middlemen builders. According to Mrs. Dabiri-Erewa, NITP had reached its final preparatory stage of the housing scheme program for Nigerians in the diaspora to benefit from. For the FMBN boss, the platform will be of immense value to Nigerians both home and in the diaspora, noting the need to swing into immediate action as this would improve the quality living of Nigerians. Dangote Cement PLC has announced its final quarter sales as 413.2 billion naira, a 24.2% increase over the same period last year. Mr. Anthony Chiejina, Group Head, Corporate Communications, Dangote Group, revealed this in a statement recently released in Lagos. According to the announcement, the corporation also made a profit after tax of 105.9 billion naira, an increase of 18% over the previous year. The Chief Executive Officer, Dangote Cement, Mr. Mitchell Purchakers, noted that the company's excellent cash generation was due to growth in revenue and profitability, adding that the company was scaling up output at its Okpela factory and that plans for grinding mills in Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire were on track, making Dangote Cement Africa's top cement producer, having a capacity of about 51.6 million tons per annum. The governor of Ekiti State has noted that the lack of formal land document has harmed economic progress, stressing that regularizing certificates of occupancy would help firms gain access to bank financing. According to the governor, landowners have been unable to unlock their property and generate cash due to a lack of correct title document, emphasizing their inability to utilize it as security in banks or obtain loans without correct documentation. The governor said in Ekiti, while presenting certificate of occupancy to 237 property owners as part of the Fayemi government CFO Made Easy program, that apart from boosting business interest, the policy would minimize the issue of disputes over landed property, saying it would help in tackling land grabbers and other fraudulent practices in land-related matters in the state. Housing Development Advocacy Network, HDAN, Nigeria's premier housing advocacy organization, has stressed the need for housing to be prioritized in the manifestos of all candidates running for local government chairmanship, governorship, and presidential positions in the upcoming 2023 elections. This was made known by the executive director of HDAN, Festus Adebayo, in a press statement released recently in Abuja. According to him, it was past time for Nigeria to follow the lead of other sophisticated countries where housing is prioritized as a significant component of political manifestos. He stressed the importance of analyzing each political candidate's manifestos as well as figure out improved ways in addressing Nigeria's housing crisis, however warning Nigerians to be cautious in their decisions during the elections, as it's critical for aspirants to make housing a priority and provide Nigerians with detailed information on how they plan to address the country's housing shortage.
For more housing news updates, visit www.africanhousingnews.com. Despite the many bottlenecks faced by mortgage operators in Nigeria, Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank has announced a total asset of 16.19 billion naira for the year 2021 during the 16th annual general meeting held in Abuja. Housing development correspondent covered the AGM.
The Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank PLC ITMB has announced a total assets of 16.19 billion naira for the year 2021, representing an increase of 22% over 13.34 billion naira reported in 2020. This was made known during the 16th annual general meeting AGM of the bank held at its headquarters in Abuja, with shareholders joining through virtual platforms. According to the chairman of the board of directors, Adeyinka Bibilari, the company's solid balance sheet, disciplined governance and risk management approach will create an efficient positioning for significant growth in 2022.
The bank has done reasonably well. Your bank has grown in large and in bounds, because you can see from what we discussed that the mortgage assets in just 1 year grew from 7 billion to over 10 billion for mortgages alone. It means we created over 3 billion worth of mortgage assets. The meaning of that is that over 3 billion houses, over 3 billion naira worth of houses were given out as mortgage by this bank in 12 months. And we are hoping that more will be done in the coming year. That is a big growth for a mortgage bank.
Speaking at the event, ITMB Managing Director Mr. Sunday Olumorin assured that the bank would be ahead of changing trends to deliver values to all stakeholders, adding that the bank would focus on entrenching the suitable structures and creating an agile and solution-driven team who are capable of driving the vision of the bank.
Our turnover increased from 1.3 billion in 2020 to 1.7 billion in 2021. That's a growth rate of 34%. So our profit before tax will increase from 456 million to 686 million. That's a growth rate of about 41%. Our total asset increased from 13 billion to 16 billion. So the bank is really doing very, very well. It has performed wonderfully well. And if you compare it to what is happening in the mortgage banking sector, of course, we are on top.
Mr. Patrick Ajudwa, a shareholder of ITMB, lauded the board and management for its sterling performance in the last 16 years, despite the challenging business environment.
They have been doing extremely very well in the past 16 years. And not only that, they have been doing well in their sector. Consistent dividend payment for over 14 years. I think it's something that we need to celebrate, and we have celebrated them today.
With a robust financial year report in 2021 and with the level of development recorded in the previous years, ITMB is set to becoming a full-fledged bank in no distant time if the current momentum is sustained.
Welcome back. For some weeks now, major cities in Nigeria are experiencing rainfall. Abuja, the country's seat of power, is not an exception. Housing development saw the reactions of Abuja residents on the state of the environment where they live when it rains. Have a look.
Most of the streets in Apuri settlements are flood-free per se, but if you get to the market area, the drainages are blocked, and with what I see coming, it's going to be a problem when it starts raining properly this year, because you have a lot of dirt inside the drainage right now, and if nothing is done about it, I think it will be a problem in time to come.
Precisely, I live in Waru community, and during rainy season it's usually not pleasant because we don't have tarred roads and there's usually flooding on the roads. So coming out to go to work, to go for your other businesses is difficult because when it rains heavily like this in the morning, for you to even get tricycle is a whole lot. It's very stressful because they won't come out to work. Going inside is difficult. They'll always stand by the road side, the main road side. So you must come out first. You don't have a choice than to use a bike to come out if you're not mobile. So it's really a big challenge because the roads are bad.
During rainy season, there are some floods in some areas. Like where I'm living at Chimes Estate. There are some areas that are not okay. There are some areas that are okay. So during the rainy season, sometimes there are some floods around, big floods that needed attention to come and take care of.
In the rainy period, we already have challenges around the express, which is that trademark houses. But aside from that, we don't have any challenge. The flood actually is not as the drainage is not as wide as it's supposed to be. So, but then I think most of the developers around there are actually working to fix up things like that. So at least they are actually trying to control it.
Ekiti is normally cozy when it rains, and we don't have any issue about flooding. But the only thing is that sometimes, because the gutter, sometimes the drainage is somehow filled up, and you have to, sometimes you just begin to perceive the some smells that is not very, very pleasant.
Okay, in my area, when it comes to erosion, we don't have much problem because that section of the area at area 8, we are enjoying what is going on there because of the road project that's actually going on. So the problem that we're having in terms of erosion have already been looked at by the central construction firm that's handling that particular road. But we are still having more problems in the sense that the old construction firm that handled the first drainage system didn't do the right thing. Like a few days ago, if you come in there, we see the slabs. Some of the slabs are falling down, and it's going to cause a kind of a danger to the residents of that community.
I actually stay in Permanent Garden Estates, and before I moved to where I am now, where I used to stay, the Boys Quarter, during rainy season, my generator got drained in the rain. So the area itself, I think government needs to also pay attention to developers, because they will just build estate for people to inhabit, but the drainage are usually very bad.
I stay in Apoduse, Ekiti. When rain fall, we do have challenge. The road, the erosion, we don't have a good road. And it's affecting us, and we don't like it. But I don't know if government can come to our aid to work on the road for us. It will be better for us, because when we are living in a town, we have to be, to look like a town. Understand? When we have a bad road in the village and come to town, we have to live the same thing. It's not encouraged.
I say our life can Kado to be exact. It's very bad in the area actually. Actually, anytime it rains like this, everywhere is always muddy. So it's very sad because most time we usually wear trousers, long trousers. Before you get to where you're going, it's already messy.
I stay at Jikoi, phase 2 to be precise, and there is this area that is after the CBN junction. That is around that government secondary school. In fact, there is even a signboard there that area is a flood area. And the situation there is when there is rainfall, in fact, it's a no-go area for motorists. And you just have to divert and then maybe bypass. The situation there is somehow.
Okay, I stay at Life Camp. Anytime the rainfall, the weather is calm because Life Camp is full of trees, the tall trees, and there's nothing like flooding.
The program is housing development. Voices on the street there. The national president of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, Town Planner Toyin Ayinde, has said there has to be adequate compliance to planning processes to curb flooding. Take a listen.
With the heavy rains in some parts of Nigeria, there is the need to examine the major causes of flood, its ripple effects, and in most cases, building collapse in major cities as most structures are erected on waterways. Utmost attention is required to address the possible solutions to control further building collapse, yielding to loss of lives and properties. The role of physical planning cannot be overemphasized, as experts have revealed these roles, noting that the government needs to ensure adequate monitoring, adherence and compliance to lay down structural planning, as non-adherence would lead to illegal structures obstructing drainages leading to flooding. The national president of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, Toyin Ayinde, during an interview with Housing Development Crew, noted the Gari site and building collapse, which were due to flooding as a result of structures built on drainages, and in cases of heavy downpour, flood is inevitable.
When we plan our settlements, what a good plan first does is to do a sieving. They call it a sieving. You develop a sieve map that shows you areas that are not developable. And part of those areas not developable are the areas where the surface drainages run, where you have rivers. So you can't plan to build a house on a river course or the course of a stream. And then when you plan your human settlement, there are also setbacks that you are supposed to observe to all of these things, because during the rains, those rivers may swell their banks and overflow beyond the normal pathway that they have. And it is for that reason that planning is necessary. So anytime you experience flooding because rain falls, it's a signpost that planning has not been given attention.
According to Ayinde, with major cities well geographically mapped and planned, government need to have a strong model for physical development where corporate organizations can handle construction instead of individual construction, as this would prevent amateurs from purchasing standard equipment or unnecessary management of building materials, which could result to disaster and in most cases building collapse.
Oftentimes our cities, our villages, our towns do not have plans. Plans don't evolve themselves. Plans are prepared, and it is only those who have the reins of power, who are in leadership, who control the resources, that have that capacity to fund the preparation of plans and then to to implement those plans that are prepared. And where we have that gap, we'll get the results we're having now.
He, however, stressed the importance of proper adequate funding for professionals in the built environment to ensure enforcement, noting that if the government own up to proper and efficient governance, then professional bodies or developers who eventually default in duties and responsibilities can be prosecuted, as this will serve as a deterrent to defaulters in the way.
Town planner Toyin Ayinde there, the national president, Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. Coming up next is Brains and Hammers Bungalow City, located in the Federal Capital Territory.
Over the time, we have built expertise and reputations, and as part of our contribution to contribute to reducing the housing deficit in Nigeria, we feel by building cities, affordable housing will actually help Nigerians to actually secure houses that are standard, that are green, that can also make them feel or have the taste of Brains and Hammers.
The payment plan, your initial payment of 20%, that makes you to have a contract with us. The next installment is after 3 months. You can pay your 30%, so within that 1 year, you're making up your 100%.
Every time I go to site, I feel happy because I see we're creating employment in thousands, not just in small numbers. From the market women handling food, to suppliers on site, to the block industries, to the artisans. These are all people that you see in thousands. When you go to Bungalow City, I look around and I feel good. I know that this is part of the things that we want to do. We want to empower people, we want to train people, and we are doing that. In terms of houses, we've built 10,000 houses so far, and we plan to build 25,000 houses. So you can see we are working with organizations to reduce the housing deficit in Nigeria, also helping civil servants to secure houses, secure their future, secure their family. That's what we are doing.
Welcome back. The program is Housing Development. Now let's take an overview of the past edition of Abuja International Housing Show.
The Abuja Housing Show is an annual event that brings together many vendors and exhibitors, providing attendees the opportunity of networking. The Housing and Construction Expo ran, during which time approximately 15,000 people attended the event. Abuja Housing Show generally attracts foreign visitors to Nigeria and the host city, Abuja. There is always an influx of visitors and the opportunity to network with thousands of attendees from contractors, developers, architects, government and other construction industry professionals. Will feature over 200 local and international exhibitors and thousands of quality attendees showcasing the latest projects, development, investment and opportunities. The most highly regarded Abuja Housing Show Conference and Exhibitions aims to not only bring together top decision makers in the housing construction industry, but also create opportunities for the visitors to witness and experience the latest equipment, machineries, innovation of construction, interior designs and property developers. Why exhibit? Meet the right people. The event will bring together the key players in the market, providing exhibitors with valuable face time with both existing clients and potential new business partners. It is the best way to make sure you are meeting the right people for you. Exhibitions are a great way to build relationships, make sales, and gather relevant leads. Face-to-face interaction allows your sales team to achieve the equivalent of 2 months of work across 3 days. Exhibitions are a great way to stand out from the crowd, build an attention-grabbing stand, have your best staff on site, conduct some effective pre-show promotions, and scrupulously follow up with the contacts you've made. Showcase your latest products and solutions. Take advantage of the high number of visitors and the various demo programs throughout the event. To showcase your latest product and build your brand awareness, appeal to all visitors looking for solutions for their major construction and infrastructure projects by introducing your latest technologies and services. Abuja Housing Show is the ideal event for any new product and technology launches.
Buying, selling, and owning real estate, including homes, are often the most expensive transactions many individuals and households will undertake in their lives. Hundreds of thousands of nairas can be involved, attracting dishonest tricksters and scammers who may wish to take advantage of those involved. But then, who is regulating real estate developers and who is protecting the subscribers? That is one question begging for an answer. Before you engage in any real estate transaction, look before you leap. Conduct your due diligence. Thanks for keeping a date with me. Let's do this again next week, same time. To watch this episode again or previous ones, you can do that via the YouTube channel Housing TV Africa. Do well to subscribe. I remain Flora Ani, your housing diva.